So, I don't really have many followers, and it's like 3 a.m. right now, and I'm kind of shaky, so this might be a little bit of a shit show, but like I said, I don't really have any followers, so I don't think anyone is going to see it. But I do have a lot of thoughts on 50 Shades of Chest Pains. So, like, I know that he used to make videos about incest, or not incest, my bad, not that, incels. And I never watched any of those, so I really don't know the content of those, but I started watching his videos because of his eating disorder videos. And I say that he has eating disorder videos, but what he really has is anorexia videos. He has videos about anorexia, and he chooses the skinniest people, the most shocking visually people, and he uses them as his thumbnails, and he deep dives into their trauma that they didn't put out, they didn't say anything about. He speculates on their trauma and on like their past and what their behaviors really are and all this stuff, and especially about Eugenia Cooney. He has deep dived into her family, into her brother, which specifically does not want to be on the internet, into her, which she specifically does not like. He speculates a lot about her trauma, and he uses her in a lot of thumbnails, even when she's not in the video. His titles are things like, I think one of the latest ones was, let me think, extortorexia, like extorting anorexia, and like it's just a word plus orexia, and it's always the most sensationalist thumbnails and titles. And by sensationalist, I do mean the thinnest and the most visually jarring, because they're the most medically unstable pictures of people that he could find. And he never ever talks about binge eating disorder or bulimia or orthorexia or purge disorder or anything else. Not pica, not orfid, ARFID, my bad. Not OSFED, nothing. He talks about anorexia, and that's it. And the singular time that he has talked about atypical anorexia, he has talked about Tess Holliday. And the only time that he talked about her was to say she doesn't have anorexia, which I don't know enough about Tess Holliday to say anything about that, but I do know that if the only time that you're going to say anything about someone that has an eating disorder that isn't super thin is to say they don't have an eating disorder, that is fucked up. It is. I have a problem with it. I have a problem with his sensationalization. I have his problem with his non-consensual digging into people's histories, and they're speculating about their trauma and digging into what he specifically thinks that they're thinking and saying. When they have videos, they're saying what they're saying, and he says, no, they're lying, this is what they're really thinking. And all of this would still be awful if he had an eating disorder, but he doesn't. He has never had an eating disorder. So why is he doing this? I think that he's doing this because it gets him views. Eugenia's name gets him views. Eugenia's picture gets him views. Talking about anorexia gets him views, because that's what people are talking about. They're talking about Eugenia, and so they're talking about anorexia, and so that's what gets him views, and that's what gets him more subscribers. He shouldn't be talking about this stuff, because he's not trying to help people. Maybe he is. Maybe he can say that he is trying to just help people understand it better, but it's not helping. It's just reinforcing the thoughts and the stigmas that are already there, that are already hurting people that have eating disorders. It's not helpful. He shouldn't be talking about eating disorders. He should talk about things that he understands and that he knows about. But if he does insist on continuing to talk about eating disorders, I would at the very least want to see him talk about literally any other eating disorder, even in one video, other than anorexia. Even once. Because the amount of people that have anorexia, in terms of people that have eating disorders, is only... I don't know the statistic correctly, but it's anywhere from 3 to 20%. Regardless of what that statistic is, it is nowhere near the majority of people that have eating disorders. Yet it's the only one that anyone ever talks about. The eating disorder that has the most diagnoses is OSFED and binge eating disorder. No one ever talks about those, ever. Unless you're talking about Nikocado avocado, because the only representation that people with binge eating disorder get is people that are like Nikocado avocado. And it's just infuriating and frustrating. So that's it, 50 Shades of Chest Pains. That is my constructive criticism. Either stop talking about eating disorders and start talking about something that you actually know and understand, or start talking about literally any other eating disorder other than anorexia, even one time.